Hey, Al Thomas here. Welcome back to the channel, All Things Business. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, most people think they're going to live forever. Question, what would you do if today was your last 24 or 48 hours on this spaceship called Earth? What would you do differently that you haven't done yet? Would you repent to somebody? Would you tell somebody you love them more? Would you spend some quality time? I know you would not go to work today or tomorrow if you had 48 hours. What things have you not accomplished that you accomplish as much as you can pack in those 48 hours we had on this earth? What would you do differently? Who would you go see? Who would you call? What would your last 48 hours look like? Where would you go for dinner? What would you do? Who would you become? What difference would you make? Not only in your life, but somebody else. What's holding you back? Who's that person you're thinking of, the three top people, that you do something immediately with if you only had 48 hours left? What would that look like? If we had a camera and we followed you around for the next 48 hours, I know you would not be the same person, but what would you do? Hour after hour after hour after hour, and you only had 48 hours left. Wow. How long would you sleep? What would you wear? What would you eat? Where would you go? Who would you see? Who would you spend those last 40 hours with? And what do they mean to you? And how much more meaning we could pack in that 48 hours that we never thought about before. You know why I say this? Because most of us, we always put things off to later. Because why? We think we're going to live forever. No, you're not. We're all going to die one day. The question is, what are you going to do in the next 48 hours if your time was up? Let me tell you something. None of us know the time or day that we're going to expire and leave this earth. The question is, what are you going to do in the next 48 hours if that's all you had? I never thought about that, Mr. Thomas. I thought this was about business. Well, yes, it is about business. It's about all things business, but also it's about you too. What kind of impressionable impact are you going to leave on the world? What would your tombstone say? Who would you help? What you done? What would your tombstone say? How many people would it say that you helped? Let me ask another question. How many people would show up to a funeral? And the people that would hit the podium to talk about your life, what would they say? How would they describe you? As a person, as a business owner, your life, your giving back to the community, the way you even treated people. What would be said about those? Who would be the top 7 people to come up and share your life and what you've done? Who would the top 7 people be? And if you had an ear to hear, what do you think they would say? Wow. I never looked at it that way. Of course not. Because we're so busy living in the now, we forget to be a giver. See, with a closed hand, you can't give or receive, but the more you give, the more God will bless you. The question is, how many lives are you touching? You know, I never want on my tombstone the day I was birthed and the day I died. What's important is that dash in between. What is your dash going to say? How long would that dash be? How long and how big would your funeral procession be? Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to put this out there today because most of us think we're going to live forever. Life. Today I'm in the park, spending time in the park, praying, and spending time in the park, getting sunshine. I'm spending time in the park to tell God how grateful I am for another day. I'm grateful that I could walk. I'm grateful I can hear. I'm grateful I could see. I'm grateful that I live in this country. I'm grateful because some people don't have that fortune enough to say that. Do you realize last night there was a boat leaving Cuba to go 31 miles north to a place called United States? And every night this boat takes off, there's sharks that gather around this time of night when it gets dark, and they know if they follow that boat, they got a free meal. Why is that, Mr. Thomas? Well, the boat should only have maybe I don't know, 15 people on it. It's got 30 or 40 people, and it's overloaded, and it's dragging on the water, and they know somebody's going to fall in, and that shark got a free meal by following that boat 31 miles to Florida. Why do people do that, Mr. Thomas? Because they come to America for a better life. And some of us been here all our lives, and all we're doing is taking up space and not creating or not helping. So don't let that be you. Start today and start living the day as if it's the rest of your life, because it really is. Now, I know this is not the call that you were expecting, but I wanted to be real clear. Start living every day to its fullest. Start giving as if every day was your last day. When you go to bed, like I do, I go to bed empty because I have put it all out there. I finished a good race, and I do it every day. Ladies and gentlemen, you can too. So call this a call to action. Go do the things that you always said you're going to do. I remember, I'm not going to say any names, but I remember a person that was in my life at one point, and they kept saying, one day I'm going to do this for my father, one day I'm going to do this for my mother, one day. And unfortunately, they passed away. That person never did take him to the Kentucky Derby. That person never did say the things he said he was going to do for his mom. Never did. Never did. Don't be that person that say one day, because we're not going to live forever. If my parents were still alive and my dad was sitting here and my mom was sitting here, and I said, I'll be right back, and I left the camera and went to use the restroom. And if I told you I was going to the moon, you know what my parents would tell you? If I wasn't here, they would say, hey, if he says he's going, he's going. We don't know when. What does that say? Well, he's a person of integrity. He's a person who's going to try until he accomplishes that. So be the person of your word. If you say you're going to do something, get it done. Wrap it up. And please, live today as if it's your last day. Because it very well could be. I know it's not something you want to hear, but start living it up. Take care. God bless. Hit the like button, subscribe button. We'll see you soon. Thank you for your time. God bless. Bye-bye.